Good morning, and welcome to the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Blackwood Fire Network Media for the 21st century. I do trust that everyone is doing okay, but if you are not doing okay, things, of course, this is just not the end of the road for you. You should always press on. And definitely the jam that I had played for you, it is Show Me the Way by the one and only Papa Wemba, that is the late Papa Wemba. We do get to celebrate this, of course, icon, because I can tell you one thing about Congolese music. It is always amazing. It is always dope. And I can tell you that Papa Wemba definitely did get to leave a great legacy, of course, in terms of the music. But my name is Calmie, and karibuni sana to the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Blackwood Fire Network. And remember to get to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com, and you can take a look at some of the episodes that you might have missed. You can also proceed and take a look at some of the amazing music that gets to play right here on the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. And last but not least, you can get to like and share the videos and support the stream at Akasha, Mr. Black Hot Fire, and you can also donate at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. It is on a beautiful Monday, the 30th of November. Finally, we are going to enter December. And let me tell you one thing. If I was an animal, and in terms of being a goat or being a chicken, this is the time that you are going to lose your relative. This is the time that you are also going to lose yourself as an animal. But of course, it's just how nature is. It's all about survival for the fittest. So this is the time that there are, of course, a lot of mega deals that have been happening around. Perhaps you have spotted the Black Friday offers all over. But for places like Nigeria, in the Kano region, they are against the Black Friday thing going on in the society, because according to them, according to the to the Muslim laws, Muhammad doesn't love the word, of course, a Black Friday, because this is all about slavery. And I got to agree with them. We get to appreciate, or rather we get to use some terminologies, not knowing, or rather not digging the history of some of these terminologies. But nevertheless, remember, this is the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network media for the 21st century. And of course, today the topic of discussion it is going to be Mauritania, that is the state of slavery in Mauritania. And remember, if you have missed, or rather if you will get to miss this episode that is on the Calmie African Diary Show, you can proceed and get to watch some of these more episodes when you get to log in at www.blackhotfinancial.com. A beautiful Monday, 30th of the November. And earlier on, I had said I just appreciate that I am not an animal, because this is the time that the human beings get to eat you, get to eat actually your entire family. So it is, of course, it is the happiness for the human beings, but it is a great loss in the animal kingdom. But let me start the show with this amazing Mauritanian quote. Let me start the show with this amazing Mauritanian quote that says, it is actually a proverb that says, a stone from the hand of a friend is an apple. Let me repeat this. A stone from the hand of a friend is an apple. This is, of course, a food for thought. And I can say that in some situation, some friends can actually mess you up, and some can actually be meaning good for you. So it's all about whom you are interacting with. It's all about the situation that you have been before. How have they reacted towards you? But then again, like I told you, I'll keep on telling you, every proverb, or rather every saying, has a different meaning. It just depends with your own interpretation. But this is a Mauritanian quote that says, a stone from the hand of a friend is an apple. And today being on a Monday, I have just remembered that a lot of activities are actually taking place. A lot of activities are actually taking place in terms of graduation parties, in terms of wedding ceremonies, especially during the weekend. I could see a convoy of vehicles going around to go and celebrate this amazing this amazing event that is taking place between two people. And one thing that I kept asking myself, also during the end of the year is when you get to have some family gatherings. You get to meet with that uncle you've never met for the rest of the year. You get to meet with that cousin, with that auntie, with that, in short, that relative you've never met from the year started. And one question actually popped up in my mind. In some communities, for example, the Kikuyu community, every celebration is marked with a drink that is a traditional drink. And this traditional drink is called muratina. I'll get to share with you the preparation of a muratina. It has been, in every occasion, muratina is always consumed, whether it is a wedding ceremony, whether it is a burial, whether it is a child naming ceremony, whether it is, all these types of a celebration. And this gets to tell me that some of the ways of life that you get to perform, some of the ways of life that you get, to deal with amongst yourselves are still passed on from generation to generation. And the question that I meant to ask is this: would you sit down with that your family, that your relative, just the different relatives, and get to enjoy some liquor? Perhaps it is a traditional liquor, or it could be the modern one. For some people, in the occasions, for example, I've used the example of the Kikuyu community, it is mandatory for you to share that muratina, because it is one way of, they get to pour libation to the ground to appease the ancestors. But in the modern context, in some communities, you are actually warned. Consumption of alcohol is not good, or is not fit for anyone. So that is why you're saying that during these family celebrations, you get to meet that one mischievous cousin that you always run away from the event. You just excuse yourself that you're going for a break. And in the real sense, you have your own liquor set aside, low key. You get to drink and then get back to the ceremony. And that is why some people have even overdrunk and messed up the entire situation. But let me just ask you: would you rather get to drink with your relatives in the open? Because for some people that I was asking, that like nowadays they think that it is good, you get to drink together with your relatives, because this is one way that they get to shape you. Maybe they get to show you how the world really is. This is one way you can get to open your ideas and talk about different things that you get to affect you. For some, they went ahead and told me that they feel that yes, it is better because in one way or another you cannot be hiding from this forever, because some people have been hiding in such events and they just found high and lying in the ditch. But that is the view of my friends. I don't know your views in terms of that, but let me tell you one thing. In the African society, drinking alcohol in front of your elders, I beg, that is something that will turn chaotic. But in some communities, drinking, the tradition, of course, the likes of Muratina, they are allowed because that is tradition. It is passed from one a generation to the other. And remember, you are tuning to the Calmie African Diary Show, and this is the Black Hot Fire Network, media for the 21st century. And of course, the topic of the day is in regards to the state of slavery in Mauritania. To those who are watching the show, we really appreciate you. To also those who are listening to the show, we also do get to appreciate you. And remember to get to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. And of course, you can proceed and get to enjoy some of the videos that you might have missed. You can also get to enjoy some of the blogs that have been lined up for you. Let me just, of course, as we take a short break, and let me just get, of course, to show you the preparations of Muratina, the preparations of Muratina, because this is a drink that is always consumed, especially as we are going to the festive season. We are going to the festive season, whereby it will mean that you get to interact with those your relatives you've never interacted with. And Muratina is a commodity that gets, of course, to be enjoyed by different members of the family. Of course, I'm talking about mature ones, that is adults. And in some communities, it is very much common. They don't see anything bad with the preparation of Muratina. It is actually something that is always enjoyed, especially of course in the Rift Valley, because the Kikuyu community highly dwells on that. But also, tradition is passed from a different community from the other. So also different communities have gotten to enjoy some little bit of this. Let me just get share this as we get to proceed the show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network, media for the 21st century. All right, here we go. This is a very tradition. Perhaps you're wondering, what is this? I think that is a mixture of a sorghum, that is a sugarcane, a juice. But of course, this is prepared the modern way. But still, of course, the ingredients are all a tradition. The way of a preparation, it is all a tradition. Of course, this is just prepared the modern way, but like I've told you, this is one type of beer that is highly enjoyed, especially during those family meetings, especially during those time that you get to interact with your relatives, those people you have never interacted with for quite a long time. Karibuni sana to the Calmie African Diary Show, right here on the Black Hot Fire Network, media for the 21st century, whereby we don't get to listen, engage, and also transform each other. And moving on from that, let me take you a little bit to what is trending in the 254. So it was just 5 years ago we were talking about celebrating Tano Tena. Tano basically means a five. That is, in terms of politics, Tano Tena meant that the ruling president right now will be re-elected again. So that's why we did have the town on 10. We did get to see the celebrations are going around the town. The youths, the youths are always the target. You're given $10, you're given $20 a day. You're like, ooh, that is a lot of money, considering that if you are jobless, $20 it will get to enable you to buy a few commodities in the house, and still you'll have change, and still you'll have to get yourself some bottle of Muratina, or rather you get to go to those drinking den and get to enjoy. So the sad thing here is that we are regretting Kenya as a country. The reason as to why we got to give Tano Tena, that is the reason as to why we got to re-elect the president. Because as it has it right now, there has been a comparison between the former president, who was Mwai Kibaki, and during Mwai Kibaki's regime, things were cheap to acquire. Let me tell you, right now people have been blinded. Youth especially have been blinded by this, by being given a $20 or $10. These politicians, this is small money for them, because they know they'll come to power, embezzle more funds, become the European puppets, and they'll continue being rich forever. So during Mwai Kibaki's regime, if you wanted to buy sugar, it was way, way cheap. Commodities like a sugar, salt, flour. Sugar, you'll actually buy a kg of sugar for 50 shillings. 50 shillings, that is less than $1. Less than $1, you have a kg of sugar. $1, you have 2 kgs of flour. So you can imagine how life was cheap then. Petrol wasn't that high. Petrol, perhaps. During Mwai Kibaki's, the former president, that is at Mwai Kibaki, let me just get to share with you his images. This was an economist. Let me just get his, of course, images, Kibaki. The later president Mwai Kibaki was an economist. And this guy, one thing that I like about him is that as much as he was an economist, he ensured that the common mwananchi didn't get to suffer. He ensured that even if you were earning peanuts for salary, that is meager peanuts, you still will be able to feed your family. Because like I've told you, buying a kg of sugar was close to, of course, it was close to $1. And he ensured even he built some roads. There was a lot of changes in terms of the Mwai Kibaki's regime. But sadly enough, if I compare the two regimes, that is, they say that the Indomie regime. The Indomie regime is the regime whereby we are talking about the one and only at President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Things have changed. Right now, if you have of course $10 with you and you go to the market, trust me, you wouldn't come back with change. You wouldn't come back with change, because the prices of things have escalated. And right now, we are struggling to pay the Chinese debt, which was acquired by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's regime. And during Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's regime, we have counted a lot of debts. We have seen the change in the economy. We have seen the escalation of prices, the escalation of prices in terms of different commodities. And right now, the same Kenyans who are out there in the streets campaigning, drinking actually. Let me tell you one thing about the campaign period in Kenya. I don't know if it happens in your country also. I've told you the youths are always the target. If you're given a $20, you're given a $10, that's enough. Most of these youths, you'll find them in the drinking dens, pubs, drinking liquor of their own choice. And then they'll come back in the streets, sing the name of this politician. Whenever something is repeatedly, maybe repeatedly spoken to you, is when you are like, all right, I think I should go ahead and vote for this person. And the Tano regime, that is the regime that we are now in, of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, we have realized that we have been fooled for quite a long time. Personally, I have never gone to vote. I have never gone to vote because I'm like, that is a waste of energy, because I wouldn't just want to queue all that hours in the line, only for me to realize that after elections, kura zimeibiwa. That is a Swahili terminology. Kura zimeibiwa. Kura is votes, and zimeibiwa is stolen. That you get to queue, you get to, risk the activities of the day, you close your business, because you want to fight, or rather you want to vote for a better Kenya. There isn't no that better Kenya. And right now, like I've told you, Kenyans, they are disturbed as to how blinded they were by money, as to how blinded they were by all this. We did have politics is all about how good you are at PR. Trust me. We've seen about the Trump's how Trump tried his PR in terms of using even Christianity, because he knew that Christianity in some way or other, it has pretty much messed up the black community, because there's that brainwash of Christianity amongst the black community. And as a result, people have gone ahead and voted for the wrong leaders. But of course, this time around we've seen Biden, and I think things are getting pretty messed up. And of course, let's take a short musical break. But when we will be back, we'll get, of course, to enjoy some more of the show. And of course, remember today it is all about the Calmie African Diary Show. And today we are appreciating the Lingala music, or rather the Congolese music, all the way from the Democratic Republic of Congo, if I may use that. And earlier on, I had played some little bit of Papa Wemba. And right now we are going to enjoy some little bit of Shala Mwana, and the title of the jam is Karibu Yangu. Karibu Yangu is basically to say, okay, the title of this song is all about you being in a relationship, dating that guy, you were good, you never had scars and things like that. But then again, you get to be in that situation whereby you allow your man to beat you. Let me tell you, if your man is beating him, I think it's the same. You need to also beat him back, because this type of a situation whereby you are there. Not that I'm advocating for you fighting in a relationship, because there are a lot of things that get to contribute to that. At some point, you all know what happens. But if you love that person, don't be in that situation whereby they're beating you over and over. Just they're like, oh, let me just let him beat me and things like that. Beat him back. To tell him it is not good for you to beat me. To tell him that you're feeling the same pain that he is feeling. And of course, at some time, Shala Moana was arrested because she had written a song in Congo in terms of some of the things that the Congolese people are going through. And what is the government? Because the African government, on most occasions, it wouldn't want the things that it does to the people to be aired out. And that is the role of musicians in the society. And we say in Swahili, the role of the musicians in the society is to be kioo cha jamii. Kioo cha jamii basically to mean the mirror, or rather the reflection of the society. And of course, not that I'm advocating for violence in relationships and so on, but I'm telling you, if it happens, because these things get to happen impromptu, trust me, you better do Do me, do you. But anyway, let's take a short and musical break. And remember, you are tuning to the Black Hot Fire Network media for the 21st century. And of course, when we'll be back, we'll take a look at what is happening in Mauritania. Because Mauritania is a very beautiful and amazing country, and it is rich in oil. But this same African country was the last African, or rather was the last country in the world to abolish slave. Of course, stick by and we get to enjoy some shot of a Shala Moana all the way from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Unirumiye na
Unilia unipeleke kwa mama
atakupatia mali.
Ungeondoa ya yote pensio mimi na wewe ondoa ya yote karibu yangu. Usinitese moyoni, naomba usinitese, unipeleke kwa baba atatupatia mali, ungeondoa ya yote pensio mimi na wewe ondoa ya yote karibu yako. Umie na kunilia unipeleke kwa baba atatupatia mali, ungeondoa ya yote.
Oh sister,
penzi mimi na wewe ondoa ya yote karibu yangu. Usinitese moyoni, naomba usinitese, unipeleke kwa baba atatupatia mali, ungeondoa ya yote.
Shala Moana right there on the Black Hot Fire Network media for the 21st century. And remember, my name is Calmie and this is the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network media for the 21st century. And of course, like I've told you, Shala Moana had some controversy, some controversial situation because of what she had written in terms of the government. She had written some of some of the vices that the government gets to do to the people of Congo, and as a result, she was arrested. And of course, we did get to see some people, some Congolese taking it out there on the streets in terms of asking for a better Congolese for a better Congo, in terms of asking for Shala Moana to be released. And of course, before we had taken that a short musical break, we had of course enjoyed also the situation that is in the 254 right now. In terms of the retired, sorry about that, in terms of the retired president at Mwai Kibaki. I think Aleona might have called him the late, but he is the retired former president. And the state of the economy was quite good, in that if you did have a $10, in Swahili we say wewe ndo kusema, just to say you are the one in charge, because you are able to go into any mall of your choice and get a lot of products. Because like I've told you, if a kg of a sugar was going for $50, then you can imagine what you can do with $10. But right now, let me not even give the comparison, because right now things are crazy. And do you know one thing? Our president, during an interview, that is the current president, during an interview, he was asked, how much does a loaf of bread cost? okay, a loaf of bread costs half a dollar, but he said it costs that is half of $10. That is what he said, meaning he does not even know that the common Mwananchi is suffering. For him, he knows that a bread is half of $10. Crazy. That is why we say that this was just a rich kid, and he got into power. Earlier on the Calmie African Diary show, I had talked about, of course, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. But moving on, let's take a look at some of the amazing tribes in Mauritania. And I had also shared with you that in Mauritania, it is known to be to be the last African country, or rather to be the last country to abolish slave trade. This has actually taken a long time, and I'm talking about of course I'm talking about the years of 1880 and the 19 okay, I think it's 1880 if I'm correct. And slave trade in Mauritania, it was on the rise. It was actually on the rise. And let me just get the correct. Yes, sorry. Mauritania did get, of course, did get to abolish slave trade. It actually got to abolish slave trade in the year 1981. Sorry, I had it twisted way back. 1981 is when Mauritania became the last country in the world to abolish slavery. This speaks volume. If you are the last country to abolish slavery, it means that you still have it amongst yourself. Because right now, in Mauritania, in the year 2007, before I even get to tell you some of the tribes in Mauritania, remember Mauritania, it is an Arab-speaking, of course, a country. In the year 2007, of course, under the international pressure, this is 2007. We did have 1981, Mauritania becoming the last country in the world to abolish slavery. But 2007, under international pressure, is when the Mauritanian government passed a law allowing slaveholders to be prosecuted. What does this tell you about Mauritania? It tells you that slavery has still been in existence in Mauritania. And that is why the topic, or rather the topic of the day, it is all about the state of slavery in Mauritania. 2007, under international pressure, is when the government is realizing, okay, there's the value of human beings. That right now, that right now it is the time that as a human being, you have a right to have to own your property. You have a right to live freely. And until now, we still do have modern slavery. As much as different African countries abolished slavery, we still do have slavery amongst ourselves. And in terms of slavery, I'm talking about forced marriages. I believe you have interacted with this. In terms of slavery, I'm talking about some of the taxes imposed by the government. Remember some time back we had talked about, I remember at Keith, and I remember at, of course, there was a time we were debating in terms of, child support and things like that. That a man, of course, in a European state, if you have a child, you have to contribute 20 years until that child is of age, money, and the lady isn't doing anything. We need to have equality. So that is also some form of a slavery. That you as a man, you have to contribute a huge amount in terms of child support. That is still modern slavery. I mean, why didn't these European countries come about with a law that will get to favor both genders? That as much as maybe if the man is earning more than the woman also gets to contribute something. Because some of this money, in terms of child support, these women have been getting designers and everything like that. Anyway, we are talking about Mauritania, and I was just highlighting on some of the modern slavery that you do have among ourselves. In Kenya, we are experiencing modern slavery. I have given you an example of the Mwai Kibaki's regime. that is the retired president, and the regime of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. You have to go to the mall with $10, and you cannot even make a carry bag to be half, because the prices of commodities are high, because the loans that the same government took in pretext of building roads, in pretext of building hospitals, the same loans that the government took from China and different European countries, in pretext of equipping PPI gadgets, that is to even medical practitioners. We are the ones paying for them. This money was embezzled, and that's why you do have the COVID-19 billionaires. And even before COVID-19 billionaires, we have been witnessing on mainstream media on a daily basis, or this politician, he or she embezzled this amount of funds. Trust me, it will be on national television. The next day, you'll get to see that the case is over. They're still in power. Or to fool the eyes of the common man, just to tell us that the laws of that is the hands of the law, they get to affect each and everyone. They'll at some point be released from duty. That is still modern slavery. We abolished slavery in different African countries, but we still got slavery. And right now in Mauritania, they are still battling the issue of slavery. In Mauritania, that is in the 21st century. That's even in 2007, under international pressure. That is when the government got to see that, okay, we need to abolish this. And let me just get to update you, that is those who are listening from the diaspora. There are some countries that got rid of slavery. And we all know that all these slaves, they originated from Africa. And that is why slaves were taken from Africa. As a result, the Muzungu had to come in, get to enjoy some of the land, some of, in terms of resources that were belonging to these slaves. So you can imagine, one day you are the ruler, one day you are owning huge tracts of land. The next day, you are shipped to a European country for you to become a slave. And you can imagine how that journey was. So we do have Haiti. Haiti back then, it was referred to as Saint Dominique. And it was formally, of course, declared independence from France in the year 1804. I'm talking about some of the countries that got rid of slavery first. We also do have, as much as you do have the northern states in the US, they all abolished slavery by 1804. We can all attest to the fact that we are still in the modern slavery era. This time around, nobody will go ahead and ship you, but they'll come indirect, and you get to fear that. And there are some states that had, of course, that were known, of course, to be states for the slaves. But of course, we still do have different communities dwelling in that. But these are some of the states that had slaves. And I'm talking about to those who are listening to us from the diaspora. Perhaps you can pay, of course, evidence to this. Some slave states, the example of some of these slave states in terms of the year of 1820 and 1860. We did have Alabama. We did have Arkansas. We did have Delaware. We did have Florida, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Texas, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Missouri, Mississippi, Virginia, Florida, and Georgia. These are some of the countries that had slaves. That, of course, a lot of slaves were also removed from there. A lot of slaves also who had migrated from Africa, they were placed in this country. And to remember the topic of the day today, it is in regards to the state of slavery in Mauritania. And not only is Mauritania affected, because we also do have different countries in the diaspora that are affected by slavery. And it saddens me that as much as we have been talking about hindering this slavery, as much as we have been talking about the black man having their freedom, because this country that I have mentioned in the diaspora, Some of them, they were dwelled by the Black community, and they have been experiencing the type of a slave treatment, even if it is, we're talking about the 1820 till now, 2020, we are still experiencing this. And let me just get to share with you this one in terms of the Mauritania, that slavery is still there. It is quite sad that we still get to experience this. Let me just get to share with you this. And remember, you are tuning into the Calmie African Diary Show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. This is just the situation that is in Mauritania. And remember, sometimes mainstream media can get to cover, of course, to cover some of this. But what gets to happen in real life? What gets, of course, to happen in real life, at sometimes it is hidden from the mainstream media, or sometimes it is very much dangerous for the journalists to get to navigate and cover that story in some areas. But this is in terms of slavery. And before even I get to play this video, there was a time in Mauritania whereby soldiers, I believe 20 soldiers, they were hanged because they were trying to organize a coup d'etat. That in Mauritania, you wouldn't be taken to court for for a verdict to be given. That is just being hanged. And that's why sometimes I'm like, existing in an Arab state, it is quite difficult. Let me just get to share this as we get to progress with the show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network, media for the 21st century.
Les chaînes, c'est pour l'esclave qui vient de devenir l'esclave. Mais l'esclave descendant de plusieurs générations.
You can get to read the interpretation.
Et il est totalement soumis. Et c'est malheureusement ce genre d'esclavage que nous avons aujourd'hui. Celui dont rêvait le planteur américain.
There's one place in the world where slavery is still normal. Mauritania, in 1981, became the last country in the world to abolish slavery. There was no punishment for slave owners until 2007. The UN says 10 to 20% of Mauritanians live in slavery today. We traveled to the country on the western fringe of the Sahara to see for ourselves. We would meet people who never knew freedom, people who escaped to find their lives hadn't changed, and abolitionists who have been fighting against slavery for years with minimal results. We weren't allowed to be reporting on slavery. It's a practice the government tries to hide from outsiders. But as we would find, slavery is everywhere in Mauritania, if you know where to look.
Je ne peux pas aller chez mon frère. Ce n'est pas possible et ce n'est pas aussi très adroit. Parce que une fois, on a amené des gens, on a amené là-bas des journalistes et la police est venue les prendre et a pris leur caméra.
We asked Boubacar Messaoud, the head of an abolitionist group called SOS Slaves, to introduce us to people who had recently escaped from slavery. One woman we met is trying to bring her case to court. The government is keeping a close eye on her to stop her from telling her story.
كنا يبطنا مسرحنا ضايقة من الحيوان البقرة ولقناه ورقد وبعد سرحنا من نجي نعود نطيشين شمل البابا شي تريف يخبط هو بنا التعمر يبطنا البط الشديد وكان يبينا كامل شاكي كان يبطني بعد يبطوني كاملين يبطونا بدعمد الدبابيس وندوروا فيهم حقنا كاملا والله كترك لا تركتهم ولا مخالدين لا ترك تربون لكن مخالدين في ساعة معاهم ما نعرف شيء ساعتين معاهم ما نعرف شيء لا معاهم اللي باع يعني عاد يبطوني بطن تي وكل شيء عاد يلعب على الماء والهدي كانوا يبطوني البطن تي لا هذا مع خاص لين خلك تلو هاي الراس اللي سامع أرادنا كتب بحالة شنو لين عاد كيف لازم هاي نخلي بيبي هاي إنسان قروة عاد يهزون فيه يهزون فيه يكتلو يخلي بيبي يكتلو
While SOS Slaves was able to reunite Mohair with her children, others are forced to leave their families behind.
مثلا لا نحاول كان قد نمشي بها السيد عود ضامن يجي جاتني وتل السناطرة. أنا ما مشيت معكم انتم مدينة ضمنتوني لا تردوني ضرب من تدلهم 30 ولا يتردوني أنا أخذت تخطوني بأمارة تردوني عن النشاط. نتخمم بها بعد اللي ما قدنا ساعدها اللي مزارة أخوتي لي ما قدنا ساعدها ما قدنا ساعد حد مدير إذا كان الإعلام ما يقدر يساعد.
These abolitionists are trying to prove that slavery still exists here. That's one reason SOS slaves helped us meet Matala and Mohair. Their stories are evidence that brutal forms of slavery are still very real. Since slavery became a crime, only one slave owner has been successfully prosecuted. The government still denies the practice exists.
Je dois vous dire qu'en Mauritanie, la liberté est totale. La liberté de penser. L'égalité.
One thing about this, of course, are prominent people in the government. They'll always defend the country because at the end of the day, their children, their relatives, they're not affected by slavery. But those who are in the slavery, they can ascertain that it is still in existence. And remember, the topic of the day is the state of slavery in Mauritania. In that decades are now, we still have as much as 2007, the slave owners, of course, were being prosecuted. And you've heard from the documentary that only one has been prosecuted. What about 1,000 slave owners out there? What about those women, young children who are going through hell on a daily basis? And we've heard that from, of course, the journalists trying to cover the story. Sometimes the cameras are taken, even the victims that are supposed to tell the story. At some point, you can get to see that at some point they can even get to disappear because the government doesn't want the situation that is happening in Mauritania. And that is why I keep asking myself, what is the African Union really doing? We have taken a look at the situation in Mauritania, the situation in Sudan, the situation in Ethiopia. And before we get to wind up the show, I'll get to tell you the situation in Ethiopia right now, that the African Union is just a union whereby people are just going there to enjoy money because different African countries have to pay money actually to be in that African Union list for them to be protected and things like that. But no protection is coming henceforth. The matters, or rather the issues that they are going through, they're not being solved. It's all about this, of course, our puppets going there, getting to have money and then rich themselves.
Tous les hommes et les femmes de la Mauritanie. L'égalité entre les gens. Il y a un phénomène auquel vous faites probablement allusion, et je vais être très direct avec vous, qui a existé en Mauritanie, qui a existé dans d'autres pays. C'est l'esclavage. Et dans toutes les communautés, qui est aboli et qui est criminalisé aujourd'hui par notre gouvernement. Donc il n'y a absolument plus de problème en Mauritanie. En tout cas, depuis longtemps et en particulier avec ce gouvernement. L'État mauritanien considère que l'esclavage n'existe pas, particulièrement devant la caméra, devant les étrangers. Par contre, on peut en trouver en campagne, on peut trouver des esclaves en campagne qui reconnaissent qu'ils sont esclaves, mais il faut les chercher.
We traveled into the Sahara to see slavery firsthand. It was a mission hindered by government minders who were assigned to follow us into the desert to make sure we didn't talk about this topic. In the Inchiri region, we slowed down and then stopped unexpectedly, hoping we would have a few moments before the miners noticed. The first people we spoke with told us in plain terms that they were living in slavery.
When they said they're exploited, what are they?
But when the government minders realized what we were up to, our guide had to try to distract them while we continued the conversation. A short distance away, we spotted a group of lighter-skinned people who we thought might be their slave masters. Most slave families in Mauritania consist of darker-skinned people whose ancestors were captured by lighter-skinned Arabs centuries ago. Many of those ties remain intact.
So there is also an issue of complexion. That the darker you are, the more chances of you becoming a slave, which is quite crazy that we are still having this in the modern era.
It was impossible for us to discuss the matter openly. But this man told us he doesn't pay his darker-skinned workers, and their situation seemed obvious.
لا يحرقوا الواحد يحرقوا مرنص يحرقوا موتهم يحرقوا الرص
The minders warned us not to stop unexpectedly again. We left wishing we had more time to talk. Not all instances of slavery are so clear-cut. Many people in Mauritania exist somewhere on the spectrum between slavery and freedom. We set out on a second journey, this time hoping to find people in slave villages.
This is quite, of course, a very disturbing situation that we have been talking about, the abolishment of slave trade. As much as different African countries have abolished slavery, it is evident that the issue of slavery is still existing among us. Let me just get to cancel this. And just to add up on that, it is evident that the issue of slavery is still existing among us. And let me tell you, this issue that the darker the skin, the more chances of you being lured to be a slave is becoming quite disturbing. And I'm living in an era whereby let me just live on earth, fulfill some of the things that I want to do, and that is it. For the rest of the people, they can get to serve themselves, because if anything, I have lost trust in these politicians. If everything, I have lost trust on all these bodies that have come ahead trying to protect the Black community. You've seen the situation that is happening in Mauritania. Mauritania was the last country to abolish slavery, but till now, we do have slavery in existence. And of course, the main government is going out ahead and saying that there isn't slavery, because in front of cameras, in front of foreigners, because they know that that is an intrigue. And from the video, the man isn't even afraid to say that he lets the black, of course, the black. Let me just put it the way he had put it. He lets, of course, those who are of darker complexion, get to till on land, and he doesn't pay them even anything, because why would he pay them? So in Mauritania, you are discriminated because of your color. The same situation that happens in different European countries. And I see as a kid, you've said exactly, Calmie. Good morning, kid. I do trust that you are doing okay. And to those who are listening to the show, we really appreciate you. And I do trust that everyone is doing okay. Kindly give your sentiments in terms of the topic of the day. But of course, we are almost coming to the end of the show. But the state of slavery in Mauritania is quite disturbing. What will you tell a young kid who has been living in a house whereby the father is the master? The father has ensured that all of the slaves, in quotes, of course, they have his children, and these children are not even taken care of, because he gets to be like, you're of darker complexion, you are my slave, I owe you nothing. And that's why at some point I'm like, I'm really grateful in the situation that I found myself in. Because I can imagine that those people are living maybe even in the Middle East, and I don't understand as to why in Arab countries is whereby the issue of slavery is highly dominating. But there, and I'm talking about the likes of even Saudi Arabia. We've seen cases whereby house helps, of course, they have gone there, trying to build a better future for their countries. And let me tell you one thing: the fact that a person is a house help doesn't mean that a majority of them didn't go to school. You have the educational system pretty much messed up right now, in that you can't even finish to the university level, and you'll come back. That certificate is of nothing to you, because right now, if you want to get a good, well-paying job, you have to have connections. So as a result, because you do not want your parents to feel the pinch of spending that a school fees on you, you have to look for an alternative job. And that's why these ladies and men, they do decide to go to maybe the Middle East and try to find something better for their family. And some of them, They have returned home in worse conditions for those who have been able to make it. Of course, some they have been able to build even adobe houses and things like that. But for majority, if they get to tell you their story, it is worth making you feel like enough is enough on earth. And of course, before we end up the show, let me just get to, of course, enlighten you on some of the major tribes in Mauritania. Remember, Mauritania, it is an Arab-speaking, of course, a community. And we do have some 4 ethnic groups in Mauritania. And I'm talking about the likes of the Fulani. Remember, this is why I keep saying that a kid is always right in terms of saying that we as Africans, we are one. The issue of boundaries has been brought about, of course, by the white man in terms of ensuring that, oh, this territory is mine, this other territory is mine. And as a result, we have been, scattered. So we do have the Fulani in Mauritania, and they are, of course, located on the south. We do have the Soninke in Mauritania, and the Soninke, they get to inhabitants, of course, at the south also. There were Wolof. And if you take a keen look at these tribes, you also get to see some of these tribes in Nigeria, in different other African countries. So in Mauritania, we do have 4 ethnic groups: the Fulani, the Soninke, the Wolof, and last but not least, the Tukolo in Mauritania. And the Tukolo, they are located in the Senegal River, that is Senegal River Valley in Mauritania. And of course, like any other tribe, apart from what they are going through, they also get to enjoy their different, of course, in terms of culinary, they get to enjoy that in terms of, different Swahili countries, or other Arab countries. They do get to enjoy more of rice. They do get to enjoy more of seafood, because at some point they get to interact with these on major occasions. But before we get to finish on Mauritania, of course, I believe it is good. I believe it is good that these different governments, that is the likes of the African Union, please, as much as you're bagging that money, that paper home, there's some people who do not know what freedom is like. There are some people who are wishing for the end of the world because of what they are going through. Sorry, for what they are going through. And last but not least, let's take a look at what is happening in Ethiopia. We have been talking about the situation in Tigray. There has been a lot of fights, and a lot of people have been displaced in the Tigray region. Right now, remember, you did have the talks in terms of Ethiopia, Sudan, and of course Somalia in terms of the dam talks. So right now, the man who was overseeing the 4 billion dam project has been found dead in Ethiopia's capital with a gun, of course, a gunshot on the head. Like, things are really not good in Ethiopia. This is all in terms of the dam. And I remember there was a time during the presidential, of course, campaign that was taking place in Europe, in terms of President Trump giving his sentiment. He said that Ethiopia refused the money, or rather Ethiopia refused the deal. And in the US is not going to give them even a penny. And you've seen what is happening in Ethiopia right now. At the moment that Ethiopia refused to give into the deals, of course, with what Trump was offering them, now killings are taking place in Ethiopia. That is why I want to say that these Western countries, they are always doing things that will all end up benefiting them. And any African country that is trying to stand for itself, what is taking place there? It is war after war. We are witnessing that people are losing their lives because of this. But of course, we are almost coming to the end of the show, and I have really appreciated those who are tuned into the show. I have appreciated those who have been listening to the show. As a kid, we really get to appreciate you for giving us this platform, because every day it is a learning experience for us. And also remember to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com, and you can take a look at some of the episodes that you might have missed. You can also get to like and share these videos. And still on Black Hot Fire Network, you can get to support the stream at Cash App and Mr. Black Hot Fire Network, and you can get to donate at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. Remember, we really appreciate any forms of donation. And also, last but not least, I see that a kid has tuned in to the show. Kid, can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on, Cammy. Give me a second. Give me 1 minute to gather myself.
All right,
Give me
sure.
1 second.
You got it. You got it. All right, as we are waiting, as we are waiting on Kit, today I'm just speaking my language. As we are waiting on Kit, remember the hashtag is also to get to log into Black Hot Fire Network, because there is a lot of things that you might have missed in terms of amazing music, in terms of the blogs that have been lined up for you, because every day is a learning experience for us. And before I get to even finish, or rather as we get to wait for Kit to give his sentiments in terms of the topic of the day, there's this last Mauritanian saying that says, one must talk little and listen a lot. Let me repeat this. One must talk little and listen a lot. That is actually,
Hear me now, Cammy?
yes, I can hear you, Kit. Kindly go ahead.
Yeah, you got a reason. You got things in Africa because of slavery. Because we're gonna be honest, the African won't fight. You gotta fix Malala.
Kit, you're breaking a bit. Kit, you're breaking a bit.
I'm in a bad era. Am I breaking up? Ah, shit. How about now? Can you hear me now, Cammy?
Yeah, I can hear now clearly.
Am I still breaking up?
No, right now I can hear you clearly, Kit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Kindly go ahead and give your views.
All right. I said the reason why it's still happening, Cammy, because the African won't fight. No one respects African people. You don't fight. You let and you keep making mulattoes. That guy sitting there is a mulatto. That's the tragedy of Africa. You hate it. Oh, we love everybody. Then we don't like racism. Then we sleep with other people and make mulattoes who enslave us. And because those are not, the Arab is a black race. White Arab just assume the culture. The Arab is black. Saudi Arabia was a black land. These people that have assumed the culture, and the other people, they are fixed mulatto. But you won't go kill the mulatto. You won't fight. So you wonder why are we still being enslaved? Why can't we be nice to everybody? Because you act like the African mind is like a child. They don't want to be your friend. You're supposed to go kill them if they enslaved you. Why is only Africans everywhere on the planet that are enslaved? Because the African man refuses to fight. That's why. He's considered a weakling on the planet. That's why his women and children are enslaved. Why he wants to act stupid and silly and shit. Wants to worship white people, Arab people. You don't want to get his goddamn mind right. That's why, Cammy. The African man considered as a weakling. That's why. And he won't do nothing. He won't ever fight. You got your women over in Saudi Arabia being abused in slavery. That's an act of war, Cammy. Why has nobody went to war with these Arabs and you call the white Arab? They'll just sit around and like you said, where's the African Union at? No damn where. African Union is fucking worthless because it was created by crackers. That's why. It was meant to do nothing. It does absolutely nothing in Africa. But look good. Oh, let's give some goofy speeches. But let's talk a lot of blah, 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 blah. But they never do anything to help any African people. Never. And African people ask the same. What the African Union? Why are they doing that? Because they were never built to do nothing stupid. They were created by the Europeans. And they ran by the Europeans. That's who pays the bills. Mostly the no good, dirty French. So until you I hate to say it. I love me as the African people. Till you get your head out your ass, you're always gonna be abused. Till you learn to fight. Stop letting the Asian come in and hit you when you're late for work. You won't fight. all this silly ass inappropriate behavior. Other people.
Blackout on our area, but
like they're supposed to be. So you like they're supposed to be enslaved. You hear me, Calmie?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. We just experienced some little bit of a blackout, but kindly continue.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I just seen it though. Yeah, and to the African wants to fight for his women and children, stop being a punk and a coward. He's always gonna be enslaved. How the hell Arabs in Africa, who are the minority, enslaving Africans? How are white people in South Africa and in Zimbabwe hurting African people, and they are the minority? So you got to ask, what the fuck is wrong with the African man? That's the question.
They don't want to fight.
Exactly right. What the fuck is wrong with the African man? That's where we gotta be honest. That's where we gotta be honest. Oh no, please don't talk about us like that. You're a coward and you're a weakling, and the rest of the world sees it. That's why your women and children are enslaved.
They're out here respecting people of a lighter complexion, and that is becoming quite crazy. That if you're of lighter complexion, you get to get away with almost everything in the society, which is
that is
just a crap.
Instability go in your country. You're exactly right. I told you the light skin, the mulatto thing. If you was an African man in your country, you said anybody sleep with anybody out that's not black, you're gonna throw your ass in prison.
Indeed.
If you know African history said you wasn't supposed to make no mulattoes. Every time you see them, they betray African people. You see that no good mulatto sitting in Mauritania talking about, yes, I enslave them because they dark. Dark people are supposed to go in and chop his fucking head off. You're dead. This is Africa, motherfucker. This ain't mulatto. This ain't the mulatto continent. It's Africa. I'm gonna kill your motherfucking raggedy ass. That what you can't say that shit in China. You know what? I enslaved these dumbass Chinese right here in China. Chinese will kill your ass. They won't listen to no shit like that. You're in Africa, which is a black continent. So you saying that shit, you're supposed to be murdered. It's supposed to be dealt with. But the African man won't do it. He'll run around, do dumb shit.
The African man wants more mulatto. The African man wants more mulatto children. That's why he wants more mulatto children for himself, so that he can be favored instead of fighting for a better Africa with his own skin, believing in his own skin.
That's true. That's true. It's so sad, and that's why, unless you get African Americans, the Chinese know that. Why the Chinese? And if you think the Chinese are your friend, the Chinese not fucking friend. The Chinese, the original China was black, was African. Calmie, what happened to those people, Calmie? The original Chinese African people. What happened to those people, Calmie?
Of course, the white man ensured that in terms of a history, no one knows about the reality.
What happened to them? Let me tell you what happened. The Chinese wiped them out.
True.
Chinese wiped them out. We're gonna talk about that today. That's gonna be African today. So I'm gonna talk about what happened to the African Asian. Everything you think is Asian is not Asian. It's African. They killed the African off, stole the science, and called it their own. Same way the white man does. That's what these no good right, these zipper head motherfuckers did. These slanted eyed motherfuckers. They killed the African Asian, killed them all, murdered them, genocided their ass. And you still got the dumbass Africans about the Chinese can be our friend. We can learn from the Chinese. You dumbass. You don't know history. The fuck are you talking about, stupid? There's no be your goddamn friend. Go ahead, Calmie.
There's no learning. I just want to agree with you on that point. There's no learning, and if you are not keen, because right now the Chinese have started dominating a lot of places in Africa. If you're not keen, A few years from now, we'll get to realize that even Africa itself is dominated by the Chinese themselves, and even the
I'm glad you
existence
said
of
that.
Africa is not be there.
But that's what they plan to do, China. China. That's what they plan to do, Cammy. That's what they did in China. China was not a Han. They called the Hans, right? The tribe is called the Han. Han China. China was not a Han a country, Cammy. It was African. That's why when Spike says, "Oh, the Sunnis say they understand the Chinese language." You know why? Because those were the Africans that settled China, not the Chinese, huh? And so when they wiped them out, they took over the country. And that's what they're trying to do in Africa. They're gonna try to wipe out the Africans. They're not there to be your damn friend. They don't act friendly to African people. They're there to wipe you out. And it's time to stop being silly and stupid. Oh, well, we can learn from the Asian. They can be our friend. All this old silly shit.
Of course, of course, it ain't happening, and I really appreciate your sentiments on the topic of the day in terms of the state of slavery. You've actually highlighted on a lot of important facts that a lot of people out here, get to really assume. They get to think that if you are of lighter complexion, if you are a Mzungu or a Chinese and things like that, then you have to access the better things in life, which is just some brainwash. You need to stand up there for yourself. You need to show that the better things in life always belong to the Black community.
I know it's a black guy, Cam. See if you can pull this. I don't know if you can pull this up or not, because you might can't see the keyboard.
Pardon?
You can pull up. Pull this up. You might can't see it because it's dark. I don't know if you can see it. Pull this up on Google. Say which race has the most diverse genetics? Pull that up if you can. I don't know if you can see it or not, Cam. Yeah, just type which race has the most diverse genetics. So this is gonna prove what you're saying is actually a lie, Cammy. Like because they want to, we're gonna use actual science.
Let me get the images.
Yeah, no. I want you the images. Just go to the article. Any article. Say which race has the most diverse genetics. Which race has the most diverse genetics? And you'll see it's the pure African. And the African woman being the most pure. So the further away you go away from the African woman, which is you, Cammy, the weaker you become. The more disease-ridden you become, the dumber you become, the weaker as an individual you become. So you got people desiring to become weaker and more sickly.
The ones that
let me know if you can find that. Oh, go ahead.
All right. Yes, let me just share this.
Yeah. When I say you are the mother of humanity and these no good bastard men are supposed to fight for you, that's what that means.
This is what I'm finding.
Yes. Go ahead. Just pull up one article. You can just pull up one. It's going to say African people. I already know what it's going to say. I just want to show you that anybody talking about white is better is a lie. A lot of those better is a lie. These are all lies. But why you think these dumbass African leaders don't know none of this? Maybe they don't. A lot of them are stupid. Shit. I'm a puppet dumb. But you as an African right there, you have the most diverse genetics.
This is what I'm finding.
What do you find? Yeah, I just want you to go to an article. It's going to one of the articles. Anywhere up and down, it'll tell you African people, you as an African woman have the most diverse genetics. That means you have the most diverse genetics, means you are the most superior human on the planet. That's what that means, Candy. Scientifically, that's what that means. You say, who has the most diverse genetics? Which race? Which people?
It's the African woman.
People. Yes, Cammy. Yes, I know that. I just want you to know that. I want you to know that. Yes, I know that.
Now I'm knowing.
Yeah, I need you to know that. I need you to know when people talk about mulattoes because the African mind has been messed up. Oh, I'm going to get me a mulatto kid with the curly hair that's got lice all in it. I want to get the animal hair with lice and shit. Yes, that's great. You've been made completely crazy from lies of Europeans. You, as an African woman, Calmie, are not supposed to be worshiping white people like a white Jesus or a white Islam or whatever goofy shit. Because you're the most superior person on the planet. But the African woman, no matter where she at, is worshiping shit less than her. These are facts. The black man has fell down so bad on the job, become a weakling and a coward, that his African woman mind is messed up. She doesn't know none of this. But this is your ancient history, Calmie. Your ancient science. You knew this. Ancient history, you knew this. You knew the black woman was the most superior. You knew the black woman was to be venerated and loved. You knew this. Now you got some goddamn black woman with praying to some cracker who ain't never lived. That's less than her. And they'll fight you and kill you over knowing the truth.
Now things have been changed. It's the vice versa. The black woman doesn't believe in herself anymore.
No, because we lost so many wars to white heirs, mulattoes, and crack and white people. No, she doesn't even know her history. She don't know who she is. Of course she doesn't. You're in there playing to some damn lice-infected ass cracker calling them your God.
White Jesus on the charts and everywhere.
Yeah, white Jesus got lice. If he's a white man, he's got lice. So how can any God have lice? That's animal fur on his head. That's animal fur. That's a fact. That's another biological fact, Calmie, that the African woman ain't know. It's lice. So how can any God who create the universe who can't be natural inside the universe? They got to wear suntan, lotion, and all kind of shit to be in the sun. But you are naturally melanated. That's because you know why? Because you have the best genetics. So that means God came from you, not from them. Genetics is telling you the truth. But your ancestors knew all this. But when the white man came to Eric Mackey, he said, okay, fuck my ancestors. Let's follow the white man and the white Arab. My ancestors are all evil and wicked and shit. They were worshiping the devil.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cam.
No, that is when things started, of course, being pretty much messed up for the black community out here. And it's just crazy that people don't get, of course, understand that. Let me just read the comments. I see that Kevin has said, show your face. Okay. I can't show my face right now because we just experienced some power, of course, outage around this entire region. So it will take some. Okay, I think Kevin is a trippy. I think I must. Let me just forget. Let me just forget
about.
Go back
and rewind, dude. Go back and rewind the video when you get a chance. Her face is shown. They're having a power outage in Nairobi, so calm down. It'll be all right.
True. And of course, we are coming to the end of the show because we have to prepare for the other show. But to really appreciate those who have been listening, we really appreciate those who have been listening to the show, and those who have also been watching to the show. We really also get to appreciate you. And remember, you can just it actually takes a few seconds to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com, and you can get to enjoy some of the videos that you did get to miss. And you can also proceed.
Yeah, but yes? Question. See, if you told your mama that, your mama probably would beat you. What do you mean I'm more superior than white Jesus? I'm going to beat you.
You want me to be disowned? You want me to be disowned from home?
No, I want to be disowned. No, I don't.
You know, it's funny how the last time I tried telling them to look up to Serapis. Oh my! Trust me, I was told that I was joining Illuminati. You know, it took time for them to understand. But you know, these things about teaching is all about It's all about how you get to make your mind. It's all about how you get to
Wow,
make
that's
your
how
mind.
bad the mind. They won't even look it up and find out the truth. You're able to know the truth. No, the white man came and told me this. Listen here. You didn't worship this 200 years ago before the Berlin Conference. So go back to your great grandmother. Was your great grandmother evil? God damn, was your great grandfather
No,
evil? No, they
not
were
at all.
not. Did they invade anybody? Did they rape people and enslave people? But you just told your great grandfathers is not evil. Your great grandmother's not evil. They didn't enslave and whip and beat nobody. But you took the damn religion of your oppressor and you refused to let it go. Oh, well, we were all evil until the white man showed up. He gave us this white fake God. Thank you, white man. So that's why you always lose, because you worship your enemy. And the thing he gave you was a lie. If he's coming to dominate you, what makes you think he's going to teach you right? If he's not going to treat you right, why is he going to teach you right?
Absolutely.
Good God. Your ancestors were not wicked and evil.
It is just a brain.
Your grandmother was not wicked. Yes, exactly right, Calmie. Your great grandmother wasn't wicked and evil. Your great grandfather wasn't wicked and evil because he didn't know the white man's fake God, which is a lie.
That's absolutely true. And earlier on, I was saying that you can get to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork, and you can get to like and share some of the videos that you might have missed. And of course, you can get to watch them right from YouTube. You can also proceed and get, of course, to support the stream, because we also highly appreciate that. You can get to donate any type of course, any amount of dollars. You really get to appreciate that. You can get to support the stream at Cash App, Mr. Black Hot Fire. And you can also donate at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. And still, when you are logged into the Black Hot Fire Network, you can get to enjoy some amazing music, because we always say that music is a food to your soul, and you need to feed your soul some positive vibrations. And you also do have other shows.
Calmie.
Yes?
Ask Spikes why he don't never change the damn station over no more.
I asked Spikes to do what?
Ask Spikes why he don't never change the station to the African side any damn more.
All right.
With his no good butt.
Maybe he doesn't want something African. He wants the mulatto things. I'll get to tell him that. I'll get to tell him that. But to really get to appreciate at Kevin, at Big Cheese, you say that teach at Keith. Also, I appreciate you for providing this platform to those who are viewing. You know, I just to see that people are watching the show, but they are afraid to comment. Remember, your views are always appreciated on the show. Your views, they are always.
You know why they're scared? Because Spikes is hiding his mulatto girlfriend.
Exactly. Maybe the father of the mulatto girlfriend is a Chinese who's going to take Spikes to China.
Oh shit! That Chinese man to be in there beating Spike. I told you, don't be messing with this black no good bastard.
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
I'll let you get up.
And of course, we have come to the end of the show. At Keith, I really appreciate your sentiments. Yes,
Calmie, when you guys,
yes,
you guys are you guys doing the Express show? Is that the show you guys doing next? But there's no power. The power went out.
Yeah, I believe so, but we're waiting on power, because the power has actually gone. It gets to affect 2 regions. There has been an issue with the transformer lately due to the heavy rains, but of course we are waiting.
You guys, you guys got a guest? Do you guys got a guest coming in, Calmie, or is it you and Spike?
Pardon?
I said, do you guys have a guest coming in, or is it you and Spike?
No. It's just me and Spikes for now.
Okay. I'm gonna say much love, family. Like I said, gotta stop making these mulattoes and stop giving excuses. It's over and over again, like the guy sitting there talking about he was listening to me 2 years ago when the channel was bigger. I was listening to Keith. I learned from him down in Zimbabwe. Ask Spice about that, Cammy. It was on Spice show, I think, Friday. It was Friday. And he said,
Yes.
he said, yeah, I learned from Keith and blah, blah, blah. And next to him, Cammy, he had his white woman next to him. I said, what? How you learn from me? And you got a white woman.
All right, I'll get that from Spikes.
And his white woman in Zimbabwe. I was like, God damn, you ain't learned enough for me. Sitting there with that cave piece.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Karen.
All right.
Let's go and go.
All right. Big shout out to everyone who did get to tune in. And remember, of course, we've got to interact on other shows as well, because we do have the likes of the Express show, the African Today show, the 54 correspondent show, the Swahili classes will get to interact on that. But of course, a much peace and love to the family at Kevin for tuning in, to those who are also watching and listening to the show. We really appreciate you. As a kid, we also get to appreciate you so much for providing this platform. We'll get to interact on the other show right here on the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century.
Yeah.